The last time I voted was in my neighborhood back in 1970. It was all with eyesight, and I would go into the booth and had to read all the measures and all the people that were running and make my mark and then put it in the ballot. Light. So all the tape's up here. After I went blind, it was a lot more complicated to the point where it discouraged me from going. So I just decided not to vote anymore.
Today, we still vote in Los Angeles County on voting equipment that was originally introduced in 1968. That is a voting system that hasn't kept up with the times. Based on the 2014 election cycle, we had some of the lowest voter turnout that we have seen historically in LA County. It's symptomatic of a trend that we're seeing all over the country. So then the question becomes, why are people not voting?
40 or 50 or 60 years ago, when we created a lot of our voting systems, we weren't thinking about things like the Americans with Disabilities Act. We weren't thinking about things like Americans speaking 80 languages, because they can't access the actual technology. People don't feel included in the process, and our voting systems are not accessible or inclusive or engaging or delightful.
And so let's start with a blank slate, and let's not look at this as an equipment replacement process, but let's look at it as designing and modernizing the voting experience.
Welcome to the 2018 general election. To begin, touch the circle on the touchscreen.
Project Vox is an effort to bring voting into the next century.
We're not designing a machine. We're designing an experience. What's beautiful about redesigning an experience is that it encompasses users' need from the very beginning to very much after. We did the user testing sessions encompassing different people with different cultural backgrounds and with different physical disabilities.
Ernie is somebody who has come into our process, come into helping us co-design this voting system. We've had him come in about once a month to really get down and dirty with us, to help us design, to help us refine. He's also someone who isn't afraid to tell you when you're not doing it right. I'm going to be here if you have any questions, but let's just see how it goes for you, just exploring this on your own, and let me know if you need anything, and I'll stand right here.
When I first used it, I more or less reached out, found what I needed to do the work, and did it. It starts talking to you, how to put in your ballot, you know, how to find the tablet to vote. I gave him my suggestion as to which one would be the best. And the suggestion that I picked was not so many buttons, because we are blind, and when you have too many buttons, it kind of gets a little confusing. But I was impressed by how much work they had put into it.
Along the way, we have had probably a dozen iterations of this voting system. We're really proud to say that over 400 voices have contributed to this project, but we're also proud to say that those voices all played a really big qualitative role in creating the design that you see today.
It's important that we get this right, because if somebody has a positive voting experience, they're much more likely to come back and vote again in future elections. If they have a bad experience in voting, or they don't feel like it had the impact that they wanted, the chance of them coming back is reduced exponentially.
It's incredibly heartening to understand that the system we're building is going to allow people who have never voted or who haven't voted in 30 or 40 years to come back into our democracy.
I'm going to be able to go back to voting. Each time that I come here, I see improvements, and I can't wait till we see it in action at the polls.